The ANC slams back at the DA for wanting to scrap the BEE scam. And yep, it is a scam. It does not benefit South Africa, it does not benefit the majority of South Africa, and therefore it is ultimately a scam. Let me know what you think in the comments down there below. So what I want to do in this video today is I'm going to be sharing a video from the DA and then a video from Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa where he was sharing in a particular interview. And then I want to drive into a particular news article. And then more so, something that I'm really excited about is the call to action for the youth, the young people of South Africa, because I believe that anybody can achieve greatness in South Africa. You as a young person can achieve greatness in South Africa because greatness has got nothing to do with the color of your skin, but has everything to do with the decisions that you make. Also, side note, I am not pro ANC, I am not pro DA, I am pro South Africa, and we want to see this country built up and fixed so that she can become everything that God has essentially called her to be. So let's get into the videos.
And delivers a more prosperous South Africa for all. BEE made the ANC elites rich and left South Africa poor. Choose real opportunities for all and vote DA.
The issue of BEE as it's being raised by the DA, I have not yet seen their proposals. What they are suggesting is what I have not yet seen. Currently we have a BEE policy that is rooted and underpinned by our constitution.
Sambonani Tobela Dumelang and Molweni. Good afternoon. Goeiemiddag to all of you beautiful young people of South Africa. Thank you for tuning into the William Moyses show. Please like, subscribe, drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think in the comments, and then we are going to dive into some news this afternoon. So, according to newsday.co.za, in a fiery exchange, the African National Congress, the ANC, has slammed the Democratic Alliance's proposal to abolish the broad-based economic empowerment, BEE, #scam, framework as an attempt to roll back over 300 years of subjugation. So, guys, it's as if like the ANC is completely stuck in the past. Because here's the piece. Here's the piece. Are you guys ready for this one? Here's a big one. Here's a big one coming. Here's a big one coming. A welfare state does not exist for the welfare of the people, but exists for the welfare of corrupt politicians. I want to make that very, very clear. So whenever in history you see that there is a country that has become addicted to the government, it was never for the benefit of the people. I mean, from a biblical point of view, we can just literally look at the Israelites that were in Egypt specifically. And I mean, they were under subjugation for 400 odd years. And then praise God, he raised up a leader called Moyses and kind of delivered them out. And you guys all know the whole wilderness experience over there too, where people's minds needed to get shifted and transformed in a big way. However, the point being, right, whenever socialism becomes the ideal or the idea of a country, it never leads to freedom. In fact, in order for you to establish a socialist, communist, Marxist society, you literally need to remove people's freedoms. And we know that God is the author of our freedom. God is the one that gives us the right to freedom, and that right is ultimately worth protecting. So let's carry on here. The DA argues that the BEE has become a conduit for corruption, betrayal of its purpose, and a drag on economic growth, and proposes a new needs-based procurement system instead. The ANC, however, insists the law is constitutional and a moral imperative, but it's interesting how it applies to some but doesn't apply to others. Because ideally, the Constitution of South Africa is supposed to be the highest authority, but so often we see how that doesn't always play itself out in practical terms. Okay, so the ANC, however, insists the law is a constitutional and moral imperative for transformation and says it will not allow BEE to be scrapped, though it's open to tweaks in how it works. So here's also part of the big idea today. It's not the implementation of BEE that makes it bad. It's the whole idea of BEE that makes things bad, because we should never be obsessed with race. Now, there is obviously a time and place for restitution and so forth, where individuals that actually were hurt and because of the color of their skin, that they need to, be compensated or things need to be sorted out for them. I get that. However, the way that you bring that across, the way that you implement that is not by creating other race laws that then pull one race up while others now need to ultimately suffer. Like, you don't repay evil for evil, you repay evil for good. That is the ideal. Now, I know I can already feel some of you are going to be like, well, that's easy for you to say because you are white. Again, that's showcasing my point that you are obsessed with color. We need to look beyond color and we need to start looking towards solutions. Now, if you just look at BE from a statistical point of view, I mean, there's been roughly plus minus over 1 trillion rand that's been looted through BEE deals. Black South Africa specifically, while we're on the topic of race, Black South Africa, all right, over 60% of them are living below the poverty line. That is a massive problem. And God has given all individuals such amazing capabilities and skills in order to build better lives, to build and move towards a brighter future. And I believe that the way that we accomplish that is most definitely not through focusing on race, meaning to focus on something that you can't change. You and I should be focusing on things that we can change and then take the necessary action moving forward. We're sitting with a rampant youth unemployment rate because from the top down, from the leadership down, youth are starting to realize or starting to think, well, I'm suffering because of the color of my skin. No, it's simply because of the decisions that you make. It's because of the responses that you have. It's the way that you treat other people. I mean, if you get drunk every single weekend, get high every single day, watch porn until 1 o'clock in the morning, gamble away your money and toss away your life by making bad decisions, that's not due to the color of your skin. That's due to the content of your character. It's where you are currently at. It's where you are drawing your information from. And that sinful nature inside of man ultimately destroys man. Hence, we try and encourage as many young people as possible to follow Jesus Christ, to follow the truth, to seek eternal wisdom, to pursue righteousness, to pursue faith, to pursue freedom. And by the way, there cannot be freedom without responsibility. So, a couple of call to actions over here for the beautiful young people of South Africa. And again, leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. A couple of call to actions. Please note that as a young person, you have been blessed by God with a skill. Like, there's something that you are naturally good at. Now, that doesn't mean that you should not develop that skill or grow in that skill, but there's something that you are naturally good at. Stop trying to seek for the money or look for the money. To begin to discover what are you actually good at. So the way that you actually discover this is by starting to serve. Find a way that you can serve. Find a way that you can reach out and bless somebody else. And as you go on this journey, you begin to discover, wow, I'm actually good at talking. Oh, wow, I'm actually good at organizing. Oh, wow, I'm actually good at encouraging other folks, because as you serve others, you begin to discover more and more about yourself. And then once you discover what that skill or skills are, take every single day, take time in every single day to develop that particular skill and then start using that skill. And how do you use it? Well, you find a problem to solve. Right now, the great divide in the country is that there are complainers and then there are producers. So find out what are people complaining about and then begin to see how you can provide a solution through either a product or through a service, okay, using the skill that you have, in order to solve that problem, to make other people's lives better. Because remember again, wealth has got absolutely nothing to do with the money in your pocket, but has everything to do with your and my ability to create value for someone other than ourselves. And the way that you do and create value for someone other than yourself is to find a problem that you can solve through the skill that God has blessed you with, all right? And then you create value by solving that problem, by making that other person's life better. And quick question, can anybody do that? Yes! Now, I don't know about you, that sounds like true equality. That's God's equality compared to the equality that the socialists try to drive, where they're trying to have equal outcomes. You can never have equal outcomes because people make different decisions, but we can have that opportunity to create value for somebody other than ourselves. We all have the opportunity to do that. The question is, are you willing to do that? My hope is yes, because you're on this channel here. Again, welcome to the William Moyses Show. Subscribe if you have not yet done so. Like and share this video far and wide. Okay, so number one, discover what your skill is. Number two, start using your skill by finding a problem to solve. Number three, you and I must absolutely resist the entitlement mind virus. You must resist it. Why? Because entitlement literally starves thankfulness and gratitude. Once you start thinking that you are entitled to things, you stop becoming thankful. And when you stop becoming thankful, what happens then? You stop seeing opportunities. But when you are thankful, when you are operating out of an attitude of gratitude, champion, you approach life completely differently. And therefore, because you approach life differently, you see opportunities where everybody else is busy seeing obstacles, because you are responding to God's grace, His way of ultimately doing things. All right, so you and I must absolutely resist the entitlement mind virus. And how do you do that? Well, by listening to, watching, and reading books or content that's going to challenge you, that's going to encourage you, but also challenge you, rebuke you, and correct your wrong behavior. Because we all need that. Right? We all need that coach who can tell us, you know what, you're a bit off there, let's make the shift here. So I encourage as many young people as possible to go read the greatest book ever, which is the Bible. Start off in the New Testament and begin engaging in that and begin to discover who God is, who you are, why you are here, what He's called you into, and what life is essentially all about. Okay? That's what matters. And then number 4, I encourage you to join empowerment groups. Okay? Join empowerment groups. You can join mentorship classes. You can get plugged into a spirit-led, Christ-centered, Bible-teaching, family-orientated, mission-driven church near you. But join an empowerment group. Join an accountability group where you are not the smartest person in the room, but actually the exact opposite, so that you can learn from the people that are in that room, so you can get exposed to ideas that transform and change the world. Okay? And quick question, can anybody do that? Yeah! Anybody can do that. So these are very simple steps to essentially follow. Number 5, I want to encourage you to pursue righteousness. What does that mean? Pursue doing the right thing. Not what makes you feel good, but pursue doing the right thing. There's a difference between doing the right thing versus doing something that makes you feel good. A lot of the worldly things that makes you feel good is not the right thing. And you'll be shocked. Once you start doing the right thing, you start feeling better. For example, how many of you have noticed all the gym bros, on this, while watching this video, when you don't want to go to the gym, but you decide to go anyway, where discipline overpowers what you're currently busy feeling, and you now go to gym and you get stuck and you're like, wow, I should have come a little bit earlier, right? You start enjoying the process. So start doing good, start to pursue righteousness, and then you'll start to see how your feelings catch up with that. It's absolutely beautiful how that works. And more importantly, lastly over here, number 6, have a relationship with God. Build a personal relationship with God. You will never regret it. Your life will become astronomically better. It doesn't mean that everything's going your way, but there's a peace. There's a joy that comes with knowing that you've been made right with God because you've received what Jesus Christ has done on the cross thousands of years ago. You can either receive that or you can reject that. All right, that's your decision. But I'm telling you, champs, if we would just simply follow these very basic steps, anybody can do this. Let's stop making it a race thing and doing the oppression Olympics to discover, who suffered more. Now this is going to sound very harsh, but it is the truth. Who cares? At some point, you need to get up from that struggle because life smacks us all through the face with the brick with some barbed wire around it. The question is, how will you and I essentially respond? Because you must understand that a corrupt government actually prospers off of people being poor. So we must resist this completely. We must resist that narrative that we are only valuable because of the color of our skin. No, you are valuable because you and I are made in the image and the likeness of the living God, and therefore we should become the people that God has called us to be. We should be resisting the race bait. That's what I mean by resisting what the government's trying to do, in the sense of resisting the race baited politics, identity politics that they're trying to drive down our throats, and see it for what it is. It's good versus evil at the end of the day, and we need to decide to overcome evil with good by using the skills God blessed us with, building great lives, building great families, building great communities, all right? And then obviously holding the leaders accountable. And we know there's a time and place essentially for that. And pray, 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 pray. This country is the greatest country ever. Let's rebuild her. Let's fix her from the ground up. And I believe that you, the youth, are the solution for that moving forward. A youth that is inspired and motivated and driven by God and His Spirit as to what God wants to do through your life, all right? And He wants to bless and open up doors for you and help you to become that man or woman that God has called you, that He has called you to essentially be. So again, thank you for watching. Hey, also get in touch with us at kingandme.co.za, where we can get you educated, equipped, empowered, and launch you and get you activated and get you going. So get in touch with us today. Also, if you haven't yet liked, subscribed, and dropped your comment, please go ahead and do so. Until next time, Lord willingly, in the meantime, in between time, just know today, namhlanje, that your voice matters.